Welcome to Bet On It NFL Week 13. We're going to cover some Thanksgiving games. Of course, we're still going to give you guys those primetime games. We're going to check in with Marco, Teddy, and Joe. Got to see what VR's got for the gold segment. TNA with Ralph Michaels, Prop Shop with Andy Lang. Coming up last with some best bets. You guys got to bear with me today because we got no Teddy covers, but we did pre-record his segment yesterday. He is enjoying the day traveling with his family. So I'm glad I get to sit here in my office in peace and quiet. Marco is with us as always at Marco in Vegas. Joe Raineri at Joe Raineri. Guys, let's have a great time breaking down some of these Thanksgiving games as well as some of the primetime games. We're going to go rapid fire. I'm going first. Listen, I want to bet against the Lions. Of course I do. I said last week the Colts were the barking dog. But let me bring up some interesting dynamics here and why I cannot bet against the Lions. NFL favorites, 36-19. That is 66% against the spread on Thanksgiving since 2005. No wonder I hate Thanksgiving games. Every single year, I get my ass kicked on Thanksgiving. And then last year, the one favorite that I took in Survivor, that would be the Detroit Lions, lost outright to the Green Bay Packers. Thanksgiving is supposed to be my birthday celebration. I'm supposed to eat and drink everything that I want. The only time all year long I get to enjoy. And that's what happens. I don't trust this Bears team. Bottom line, I really, truly don't. But they have been competitive in the division. We just saw it last week, a couple weeks ago in regards to the Packers. But I'm not sure I, again, can trust them. More importantly, do I want to step in front of Detroit from the gold sheet? Teams that are coming off back-to-back wins of 14 plus points have gone 49, 80, and 2. That is 38% against the spread since 2028. So now we're in this conundrum, guys, and I don't know what to do. So I asked before the show, Marco, Joe, do you guys have anything? Marco said, no, not really. But Joe Raineri, what do you have for us in this one?
Well, I think that the total is interesting in this one here, Cal. On a short week, injuries continue to mount for the Lions on the defensive side. And listen, I watched that debacle with Minnesota and Chicago and Matt Eberflus once again. I really do think now, 2 weeks in a row with a new offensive coordinator, we are seeing a much improved Caleb Williams and an ability to be able to push the ball downfield. I don't happen to think that the Bears have an issue going toe-to-toe with their heated rival here in the Lions. I think they're going to have to keep up with the Lions in this one. And Dan Campbell's already showed us, Cal, that there is no way, shape, or form that he is in any way going to take his foot off the gas for anybody, especially since Jared Goff and Dan Campbell have not won together on this holiday. They are 0-3 straight up, 2-1 against the number. We all remember that disgustingness last year against Green Bay. I think he's going to want to avoid that. I think the over is legit in this one here on a short week. I got no problem looking at the over 48.
Favorites and overs, welcome to Thanksgiving Day and why I have such a terrible time. Let's talk about a terrible game while we're at it. Oh, golly. The New York Football Giants, 3.5, 37.5 at the Dallas Cowboys. It sounds like it's going to be Drew Lock time as Tommy DeVito did not practice today and will not be traveling with the team. Joe, Cooper Rush last week kind of got it together, right? They were able to beat a division rival in the Washington football team. I kind of think it's because it's the first time I didn't bet the Giants since Dak Prescott, the Cowboys since Dak Prescott got hurt. But here we are. Let's talk about this one because, Marco, what do you think about this one first?
You know what I think about this one, Kelly? Lori asked me, what time do you want Thanksgiving dinner? I said, kickoff of the Dallas Giants game because I want no part of this shit show that is the second game on Thanksgiving. That's what I think about this one. And have a very happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Fair enough, Marco. Look, I don't know. The Cowboys, what do we know about them? 2-11 against the spread on Thanksgiving since 2012. And you want me to lay points with this team off a big divisional win. Yes, I know this is also a divisional game. And I got duped. By the way, I don't know if you guys saw the Kelly and Murray show. I got duped by Ariel Epstein, a troll account on Sunday when we were celebrating my birthday. said that Brian Dable had gotten fired, and I actually believed it. And so I wanted to bet the Giants because I thought Brian Dable had gotten fired. But now that I know that he still is firmly secured in his position, I'm just going to ask Joe Raineri what he thinks about this game.
I'm sorry. Fantastic game here. I think this is crap, but there are a couple of interesting trends, Cal, that I'll throw out there in this game. First and foremost is the fact that the Giants haven't actually won a Thanksgiving game since Lawrence Taylor's pick six against the Lions in 1982 to walk the game off. That's the last time the Giants have been relevant on Thanksgiving. But I'll also tell you this, the Cowboys this year in the third quarter, they're 2-9 against the number in the third quarter this year. It's the worst mark in the NFL this season. If you go back last year, it's not something new. They're 7-21 against the number in the third quarter. So when they come out of the locker room, Cal, the Cowboys, if you want nothing to do, you just ate, and you're like, all right, let me sit down. You may want to look to fade the Cowboys in the third quarter because it's been one of the more profitable bets across the NFL over the last two seasons. And the 37.5, Cal, we have only, over the last 2 decades, had 3 games on Thanksgiving with a total under 40. 2-1 to the over. Man, that feels like a very, very low number to me.
It does, but golly, I'm not expecting very much from, well, either offense here. Joe, let's go into the game that you actually wanted to talk about here. And I think this is going to be the best game on Thanksgiving, and that's just because of, well, what the point spread says it's going to be. And it's the Thursday night primetime game. Miami now down to 3 on the Wager Talk odds screen at Green Bay, 47.5. Joe, I broke this one down earlier today, and I thought, man, an awful lot of people keep talking about the weather in Green Bay. And well, it might be cold. We know the field is heated. But last time we saw Tua play in the cold, well, that was in Kansas City, and it was not pretty.
Yeah, and here's the other thing, Cal. Miami was my best bet last week here on the show, and I said there is a level of excitement down here in South Florida with this team that we have not heard in a while. They have not had a lot to be excited about, and with good reason. I had said nobody punches down quite like Miami, and they're really starting to gain some momentum. On the flip side, it certainly feels like this is the market height of Green Bay, because all I have heard since the game was finished on Sunday is how Tua, boy, check the weather. If it's going to be under 40 degrees, Tua can't win the game. Meanwhile, there is no frozen tundra. The damn field is heated here, people. There is nothing frozen about this. And you do realize that Tua is eventually going to win a game in cold weather. Not to mention that compared to what he had to go through last year in Kansas City, people, okay, this is going to be like beach weather to them right now with the temperature hovering around 30 degrees. Wind is not going to be a big factor. There might be some snow. But again, the field is heated. I don't see that being a deter to bet Miami here. I think it's time to sell high on Green Bay. I think we're shorting this Miami team because of the injury to him and because of what they did and what they went through early on in the season. I don't think the market has truly caught up with just how good this Dolphins defense has been. They are rolling off wins. Yes, Tua is being Tua, and he's got all his weapons healthy. But the Miami Dolphins defense is legit. And has anybody noticed Jordan Love not exactly being a world beater here? They are winning games in spite of Jordan Love, who, by the way, 5-7 against the number is a favorite. Not great. And oh yeah, by the way, if we're into trends, how about Matt LaFleur? This is another interesting one. They are 2-6 against the number as a favorite on short rest. They're 1-6 against the number under Matt LaFleur at home in Lambeau on short rest. Matt LaFleur teams don't do great on short rest here. I think the market woefully undervaluing Miami in this spot. I'll take the hook if it's available. If not, I'll take the 3, but I will absolutely be playing Miami on the money line.
Oh, on the money line. All right, guys, we're not skipping over the Friday game. I'm just going to give it out as a best bet. So if you're looking for the Black Friday game, scroll to the end. Don't do that, though, because Johnny Detroit will yell at me. Marco, Sunday night prime time. San Francisco currently a 7-point underdog at Buffalo. Total 45.5. It looks like Brandon Allen, as it stands right now, Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern here, will be the starter. But I've heard rumblings that Purdy may be back. How do you handicap this game with or without Brock Purdy?
Well, Kelly, had Buffalo not had a bye week last week, I probably would have been looking to fade them after their monster revenge win over Kansas City, playoff revenge last week. And speaking of playoff revenge, just throw a little thing in there about the last game you just talked about with Joe. Green Bay's coming off their revenge against San Francisco last week. And guess who Green Bay's got on deck if you want to look at a schedule? They got Detroit on deck. You want to talk about maybe a little bit of a sandwich for Green Bay in that Miami spot as well. But getting back to this one, you look at Buffalo. They went into their bye week on a 6-week winning streak, 6 games in a row. And you know what I say? The teams that go into the bye week on a roll like that generally that's a momentum stopper. So that's one of the things that causes a little bit of pause for me with Buffalo to jump on them, because we saw what happened last week. San Francisco did not look good at Green Bay. They couldn't get anything going. They hung around for a while, but second half, it was just an absolute bloodbath for them. And I don't see how anything gets any different this week. If Brock Purdy comes back, how effective is he going to be? Okay, there's a reason that he missed last week, and there's a reason why he hasn't been practicing so far. I'm looking at this one. There's only one way I can look at the game if I'm going to look at it. I'm going to look at the total, and I'm going to look at this game under the total. San Francisco, either way, with Brock Purdy or without, they don't want to get into a shootout with Buffalo. They have zero chance, in my opinion, if they try to play in a shootout. What they're going to do is they're going to rely on Christian McCaffrey to try to run the football, shorten the game, and I think the game plan is going to have them feature a lot of screen plays coming out of the backfield, those quick passes to slow down that pass rush and make it an extension of the running game. And then possibly later down the road, they can get something set up to try to hit a big play here or there off of play action. But their goal in this game is to shorten the game and try to make it a defensive game. Buffalo's defense has played well. They don't get a lot of attention because of Josh Allen in the offense. But I'm looking at this one under the 45.5. I think you're looking at 40 points or fewer. And if Buffalo does have the big lead, they don't have any reason to run the score up in this one. They're going to want to get in and get out and move on to bigger fish to fry down the road. Let's look at this one under the total on Sunday Night Football.
If no Brock Purdy, I will be also looking at them for my final Survivor entry. Very sad. Monday night prime time. Teddy was so kind to hop on and give us his opinion on this one before he hit the road. Cleveland plus 5.5 at Denver. Total 42.5. Teddy, I would love your thoughts on either the side or the total here.
Sure. Let's talk about the side in this ballgame, because certainly Monday Night Football, this is a chance for kind of a Denver Broncos team that's been under the radar all year to maybe make some noise on a national stage. Denver has been real good in one particular role. They're beating the teams they're supposed to beat. 5-0 straight up, 5-0 against the spread when laying points this year. Did it again last week against Raiders, and it wasn't a good game. Sean Payton after the contest. A year ago, we don't win that game. It wasn't our best. We're on to the next one, so we have a lot to clean up, but it's good to handle those guys for a second time, talking about beating the Raiders. And obviously, when we're talking about the Browns here, we're not talking about a team that's a whole lot better than the one that Denver just beat by double-digit margin. And, you know, the quotes coming out of that Denver locker room, not just positive from Peyton. Cortland Sutton, quote, I think the tide is turning. The Broncos are in a spot where we want to be, back in the AFC West. That's a really exciting the spot to be in. Job's not finished. And to me, that's one of those quotes. The end right there stands out to me where, we just won. We just beat a busy opponent, but we're focused. We've got a lot more to do. Defensively, Denver's been an unavailable commodity all year, and it's a defense that can create turnovers, and that's a problem when you're talking about the Cleveland Browns. We saw the full-on Jameis experience last week. Jameis it really was an awful back-breaking interception in the fourth quarter. And then what happens? Well, the defense gets a stop for him, and then Winston with the clutch throw and making plays and extending plays and obviously getting the team to victory. But, Cleveland went 1 of 10 on third downs in that game against Pittsburgh. They had 25 minutes of possession. They still lost the turnover battle. I know they won the game straight up, but we're not talking about a Browns team that has had a whole lot of success in any role this season. I do worry a little bit about the Schwartz defense giving a rookie quarterback like Bo Nix some trouble. And I do lean here towards the under as a result, but I don't think Cleveland's moving the ball up and down the field against Denver. I believe in this Broncos defense, and I would expect a team that's 5-0 straight up in ATS as a favorite this year to cash one more time on Monday night. It's Broncos or pass for this better.
All right, the man, the myth, the legend, the star of Wager Talk's last call on Saturdays and Sundays, VR, because you're always bringing that gold. People love it. You give us the early look behind the computer screen on Wednesdays here on Bet On It. So give me what you got for NFL Week 13.
I got a lot to share, Kel, because Thanksgiving weekend brings out a ton of recreational money that usually isn't in the market, and wise guys are there to take advantage. And rest assured, that's what they've been doing over the last couple of days, picking off a lot of key numbers and getting out ahead of the market. Be cautious because there will be a lot of manipulation because of the influx of recreational money, which will outweigh the sharp money. They know that even on the less marquee games. So be cautious and pay attention to how these lines move on game day. Real quickly, Thanksgiving Day, no surprise, money came in from the Sharps on Chicago at double digits. They picked off the look ahead at 11.5. They picked off the opener at 11, and they picked off the 10.5s and 10s today. So they like Chicago getting double digits there. I think they think the defense will keep them in the game. Next, Giants and Dallas. Dallas got bet up from the look ahead of 2.5 and 2. Through that key number, that's when you saw the New York Giants money come in at +4 and +3.5. DeVito having a decent game as far as passing success rate last week. I think it was about 42, almost 43%. So not surprising they picked off the 4 and the 3.5, and Dallas is settling on that key 3. They also steamed that game under, which correlates. Close game, points mean more, and this total has been bet down. Even though the look ahead got bet down from 41 to 39.5, they kept hitting it under. That's why we're looking at 37 right now. All the value's been extracted, I believe. Finally, Miami, Green Bay. They took the 3.5s there. Again, another key number, which is why we're looking at 3. No surprise. You have Tua talking all that about how he's going to play in cold weather finally well and all that. Good two-way action on the total. Early steam on the under. Since then, we saw a little resistance back with the over. That's why you're looking at that 48 right now. But heading into Thanksgiving day, it looks like favorite and over money from the betting public. That's the bias that the books know of recreational bettors. So most lines were shaded towards that bias. Real quickly, I'll give you the rest of the NFL. Friday game, under. Guys I spoke to believe there is zero adjustment with O'Connell in. No adjustment necessary. They did bet the under 44 and under 43.5. That's why we're looking at that low total now. Sunday sides real quickly. Titans +8, took the look ahead, and then took the 7.5 as well. Chargers. Falcons are off a bye. They took the Chargers at +1 and then laid the 1 as well, and also went over there. They went over to look ahead at 45, then hit it over 46 and 47 as well. So Chargers and over. Colts laid the 2 there. Not a big bet, but they did lay the 2. Jacksonville coming off a bye. They bet teams that against the teams coming off a bye. This is the one they bet on off a bye. They took the look ahead at 7. Books adjusted to 6.5. That didn't matter They didn't wait to see if this line was going to get back up. Instead, they took the 7, they took the 6.5, they even took the 5.5. That's why you're looking at that low line right now. They also bet the over 42 in that one. Go down to Seattle. Jets coming off a bye. They took Seattle at +1. They laid the one as well on Seattle and went under 43.5. That's a telling sign because remember, when it's around that +1, -1, 1.5, 2, if you're able to move the market, you could easily get plus money on both money lines. When that doesn't happen, it solidifies it is as legit of a move as you're going to get. So pay attention to how that money line moves later in the week. Finally, Panthers +7 and 6.5 and over 43. The look ahead, was 41.5, and they moved it even to 43.5. That was not high enough as they kept betting over 44, 44.5, 45, 45.5, 46, 46.5. Not until 47 did we see a little bit of resistance. Came back down to 46.5. But the over is definitely as legit as they come. Finally, Saints at +3, that key number. They're picking off any 3 there. That's why you're looking at 2.5s. And they went over 47, 46.5 and 47. And finally, no Purdy. This is expected Brendan Allen. They steamed that under. The look ahead was 47. The books adjusted to 46.5. Didn't matter. They went to 46 to 45. At 45, you saw a little bit of resistance. When the book went back to 46, they hit it again. So a lot of love on that Sunday Night Football under. That's why you're looking at 44.5. So whenever it bounced up a little bit, kind of like you're seeing in the stock market right now, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. You saw it in crypto. Once Bitcoin went from 100 down to 92, 93, 90, you saw recreational investors coming in, buying the dip, buying the dip. That's what happened here. So this far out, that's what we're looking at in NFL. A lot of action for Wednesday. Usually we don't have this much information, but it is not your normal weekend of NFL and college football action. So the betting syndicates are lining up for a profitable weekend by setting up and taking advantage of a lot of key numbers. So whether you follow or fade, I hope you do some damage, have a safe and nice Thanksgiving with your families. God bless, and I hope you do some damage.
We love that. VR, can you let everybody please know where they can get your premium plays over at wagertalk.com?
I'm glad you asked. Hey, go to wagertalk.com. I got a 5% in the NFL. I don't think I fired one for 2 weeks. I'm 67% in 2024. I found another one for Thursday's action, actually Thanksgiving tomorrow. That's up at WagerTalk. Sunday games will be up later on today as well. I already have college football also. I'm like a kid at a candy store when it comes to this is like the bowl games for me. I get so excited. Still 30 years here in Vegas. I was telling Prez earlier. And this Thanksgiving weekend, because of the action, those primetime games, the influx of money, I just get so excited, Kel. So great time to be a sports bettor, and we got a lot to choose from. It's like I said, the field is ours. We could pick and choose as we like. So do some damage this weekend.
It is a great time to get involved over at wagertalk.com. Right now, $69 7-day all access special. That is for Sports Memo and Wager Talk, because we are so thankful for all of you. Thanksgiving, $69 7-day pass. No limit on how many you can buy. Just go to your favorite Wager Talk experts page and purchase under special offers. Marco's been really red hot all season long, except for the shit sandwiches. And you guys have made that really known in the comments section. But I will say this, Marco, keep doing you, but doesn't mean I have to eat it.
Hey, Kelly, you know what? I love it. Hey, when we have a loser, go ahead, give me grief. I'll do it. But you know what? Don't just cherry pick. Somebody last week called me out on the sandwich game after we hit the best bet and we also hit the TV game. Those plays, I guess, didn't count. But nonetheless, we're back this week, and we really could have had 2 sandwiches. So what did I do? Well, we're going to have one sandwich here, and the other one's going to be in the best bets, and I'll tell you why when we get to that one. But this one we're looking at, we're going to fade the Chargers. This is just an absolutely horrible spot for the LA Chargers. Why? Well, they played back-to-back primetime games. 2 weeks ago, they were on Sunday night. They played Cincinnati. Great game, had a big lead, blew the lead. It was tied. They came back and forth, kept thinking the other team was going to win. They missed field goals, everything else, but they finally found a way to win that game. Then last week on Monday Night Football, it was the Harbaugh Bowl. The brothers went to battle. And, it was a good game for a while, and then Baltimore blew it open. Then it got close again. I just don't see how after those 2 games that they played the last 2 weeks, now travel cross country on a short week to face Atlanta, who's coming off their bye week. And I always tell you guys, teams that go into the bye on a roll, it's a momentum stopper. You go into the bye not doing so well, and what did Atlanta do? Well, they went into the bye losing 2 in a row. You're going to be focused and use that time to fix things that are wrong. I like the spot for them. And how can you complete a sandwich without saying who's on deck? Well, after the 2 games the Chargers just played, look at who's on deck next week. This is a mother of sandwiches. They play Kansas City next week. I'm going to ride with Kansas City. And prior to that 2-game losing streak, Atlanta was rolling. They were 5-1. They had scored 26 or more points in all 5 games during that winning streak. Kirk Cousins and the offense were clicking. Remember, they started the season slow. They, had the gel. You had to get Kirk Cousins coming off of that injury. Things are rolling now. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Atlanta in this one. I think they get the job done. 27-20. I'm calling for Atlanta in the outright victory.
Atlanta plus the points. Atlanta on the money line for Marco D'Angelo. Joe Raineri, we've been having a lot of unders lately, it feels like. And in the Are You High segment, and maybe you just need to tone it down a little bit.
Yeah, I may have cut back on the dosage. Oh, wait a minute. Wrong. We cashed again last week, Cal, looking for Tommy Cutlets to lay a cutlet, and that's kind of exactly what happened there. We got the under at 41.5 last week with the Giants in Tampa, although the Tampa almost outscored us right to an over. This week, I'm going to mix it up here a little bit. Not because I'm going to be looking at an over, but because I'm going to be looking at a first half. And I'm going to go to the Philadelphia Eagles and the Baltimore Ravens, and I'm going to look at the under 24.5 in this. I think this number is way too high given what we have seen from these 2 teams over the last month here, Cal. And what I mean by that is both of these teams have very pronounced offensive splits in the second half of games as opposed to the first half. Over the last 3 games, 4, just the Ravens here, which includes Pittsburgh, which also includes Cincinnati. We're looking at, they're only averaging around 9.5 points in the first half. Philadelphia, not much better, just about 10. Why? Both of these teams like to establish the run early in games. That goes without saying. We also know that in the second half, both of these teams explode, averaging close to 16, 17 points all season long in the second half. So we got a huge discrepancy between the first half and the second half, scoring-wise, with these 2 teams. We've seen Vic Fangio finally find the right combination of players for this defense, and we've also seen why it is that the Eagles have been rattling off all these wins with Saquon Barkley, the running game, some passes in the second half that they go deep with Brown and company, and Philadelphia, just like that, gets it going here. I think this is going to feel very much like a playoff kind of atmosphere here. Both of these teams want to keep rolling. Both of these teams need to keep winning some games. And I do think the 24.5 is too high given what we've got from these offenses early in games. There won't be any home run shots. These defenses will not give that up. I think whoever establishes the line of scrimmage in the trenches will win this game. And I think it starts in the first half. So give me under 24.5. I think that number is just way too high for these 2 teams.
We won't tell Ariel Epstein about that because she's going to the game and nobody wants to see an in-person under, especially not when you're going to be cheering for the Ravens as well. All right, the king of buy low, sell high is Teddy Covers, just the tip. And Teddy sold this team in week 8, and now he's buying it back in week 13.
Absolutely. And that's the concept that we're looking for with this Just the Tip segment. Buying low and selling high. Here's a team that we already sold. We sold the Colts, I think it was after week 8, as you mentioned, week 7 or week 8. They had a 7-1 ATS start. 3 of their 4 losses came by a field goal or less. They had 1 loss by 6 at Green Bay. At the time, they were an overvalued commodity. They built up a betting bandwagon. They covered a bunch of point spreads, and their schedule was about to get really tough. So what happened? They went 1-4 straight up in their last 5. They failed to cover 3 of their last 4. There's been money to be made betting against Indy. So I'll take that initial stock watch recommendation as a W. Now, let's flip the script on Indy. My NFL's been running pretty good, guys. Really has. 67% the last 2 weeks, 64% the last 9 weeks. You can get on board with any package. Visit my page, wt.buzz/TC, and you can take advantage of a great offer this week only. $50 off any 30-day pass. That includes all access, NFL, college football, NBA, football combo. Any 30-day pass, take $50 off. Just use promo code Teddy30. So let's talk about why we want to buy low on Indy right now. They're coming off particularly bad offensive game, against the Lions. Jonathan Taylor couldn't run the football. Anthony Richardson had more incompletes than completes. That's not going to get it done against elite teams. They only had 11 first downs in the contest. They were flagged for a season high 8 offensive penalties. They were pretty awful. That being said, their defense kept them in the game for a long, long time. This is not a bottom tier defense. We look at what they've done. Their last 5 games, the only win came in a 1-point victory over the Jets, come from behind fashion. But who'd they play? The Lions, the Bills, the Vikings, the Texans. There's nothing to be ashamed of with any of those losses. Now, we look forward on Indy. Who do they have in their last 5 games? 4 bottom feeders. They got the Pats, the Titans, the Giants, the Jags. The only step-up game is at Denver. We have a buy sign, and we have urgency, all right? The Texans are only 7-5, and they still have Miami, KC, and Baltimore on tap after the Jags this week. And the Jags could have Trevor Lawrence back this week. So this is not a done deal division. I know Indy's not going to make a wild card run, but could they win the AFC South? I saw them at plus 280 to make the playoffs. I think there's dumber bets to make than that one, even at 5-7. And this is a team that is now battle-tested after facing all of these quality foes. Anthony Richardson has taken his lumps. I think he's going to have a much better run down the stretch. This is a point spread team that has money-making potential. We sold the Colts early. Now let's buy low on Indy right now and see if we can cash some tickets with the Colts down the stretch.
Yeah, well, after that Colts team ruined the barking dog last weekend, I'm not so sure. All jokes aside, I trust Teddy. He has been spot on about that Colts team. And as I mentioned, the barking dog segment has kind of taken a turn for the worse. We were doing great. We were nice, cruising on the season, and now we've dropped 3 straight. Best bets, on the other hand, have started picking it up. So I guess we're just not going to have a winning season here on Bet On It in the NFL. Check out the college football edition if you have not. We have been absolutely crushing over there, including myself. But let's go to this week's barking dog. I'm going to take the Panthers plus 6. This team's covered 3 straight. Coming out of that bye week prior to the Chiefs, I thought, I don't love using the Chiefs in Survivor on the road. And I know a couple people did. And boy, were they sweating that one late. Has Carolina figured it out? I'm not really sure if they have or they haven't. And I do like this Tampa Bay team, right? They had a really tough schedule to start the season. And then they got a basically gimme against Tommy Cutlets last week. And don't forget, he's not playing this week. That's how bad they beat up on him. But I don't know if that is more of a compliment to the Bucs or if it's more of, well, the Giants are just not a good football program. And so I kind of went back and forth trying to find a barking dog. And I ultimately decided maybe the Panthers are a little bit better and maybe Tampa looked a little too good last week. This is the Bucs' second straight road game. And when you start to look at teams in those situations, you're looking to fade them, especially as almost a touchdown favorite on the road. So look, I hope the Panthers can keep it up. Carolina is barking, so don't forget to sprinkle a little bit on that money line in addition to taking the plus 6. Prop Shop with Andy Lang, the proptologist. We're going back to the Thanksgiving games here, Andy. And you have a prop for us in the late one between Miami and Green Bay. This is interesting because I've kind of went back and forth on whether or not Tua Tagovailoa is going to have a good game in the cold, even though the field is heated.
I don't believe it. So I'm going under 243.5. So Kelly, I went back and just looked at his entire career. He's 8-3 to the under on this total on the road. If you include the last week of November, December, and January, he's 2-0 to the under on road games this season. And the Packers, I love what their pass defense has been doing. They're the 11th best pass defense on the season, 5th best the last 3 games. They've done a great job putting pressure on the quarterback and creating just some really difficult situations here. Weather tomorrow in Green Bay is going to be below 30 and a bit breezy. Kelly, that's where my family is from. If they say it's below freezing, that wind coming off the lake it's bone chilling. It is brutal. They can tell you it's like 25. It's not. It's 10. So Tua's arm, I just don't buy it in this weather. I like what Green Bay's doing. And last week, Kelly, over 36 minutes time of possession for Green Bay. They got Josh Jacobs, who's running the ball really, really well. I think this is a bad spot for Miami. And actually, a lot of these road teams on Thanksgiving, tough spots. But this one in particular seems pretty bad. So I am going to take Tua under 243.5 passing yards.
All right. The man named Andy, not Andrew. Fun fact, in case anybody cared at home, please let everybody know where you can get your premium prop picks.
Yeah, do the 7-day special. It's discounted down to $69. We have 4 NFL games before the weekend even starts. Kelly, we have our college football best bet that goes up on Friday, 9-4 on the season after another cash last week. We're number 1 lifetime in ROI and winning percentage. It's PFL championships on Friday as well. It's the last PFL event of the year. We've hit 68% of our PFL picks. So just wrap it up all into one. Get the 7-day pass, only $69. For us, it's a Formula One weekend, Kelly. You know that's big for us. We do motorsports as well. And going back and looking at some of our numbers, I went back to January 1st, 2023. We're number 1 at Wager Talk, plus 183 units. So you're looking at good long-term success. Just get that 7-day pass for $69 and let's have a great weekend.
These glasses only mean one thing, and it's time for some TNA with Ralph Michaels.
Hey, Kel, I am taking a look at the Steelers and Bengals. It's rivalry week in college football, and we have an NFC North rival as well. So this situation, several situations that favor Pittsburgh, several situations that play against Cincinnati, and an interesting dichotomy in the rest between these 2 head coaches. First off, Pittsburgh has won 3 straight in this series, including back-to-back wins at Cincinnati. So if you say, hey, the Bengals have double revenge and now they're a favorite, what does the data tell us? Well, if a team has lost back-to-back meetings against a division foe and now they're a small favorite, from -1 to -6. Since 2017, those teams like Cincinnati fall into a 24 and 56 ATS situation that is only 30% against the spread. So System 1 says to fade Cincinnati. If I look at a subset of that system, and if a team like the Bengals are also off a loss versus a non-division foe, listen to this number. Those NFL teams are 2-19 against the spread. That is 9.5% ATS. Now, the Steelers are off that snow game in Cleveland last week. So while the Bengals have a bye, again, Pittsburgh has additional rest as well. So that bye effect is really quite a bit different than someone being on a traditional Sunday to Sunday day. But a team like the Steelers on the road, off a loss as an away favorite of 3 or higher, those teams have gone 30-19, 61.2%. That is a play on Pittsburgh. Then I wanted to look at the bye situations with both teams having more than 6 days rest. Mike Tomlin is 9-1 with more than 6 days rest against the spread. A great coach with extra time to game plan. Zach Taylor has failed to cover his last 3 games with more than 7 days rest. He's only 2-5-1 ATS the last 8 against the spread. And with extra rest, he is 0-4-1 against the spread as a favorite or small dog. And finally, speaking of dogs, Tomlin has been one of the NFL's best underdog head coaches. Since 2019, he's 32-18, 64% against the spread as an underdog. But he is 0-5 ATS as a double-digit dog. So as a single-digit dog, that leaves them at 32-13, 71% against the spread. Clearly, Pittsburgh, my best bet for the show. And Kel, one little bonus system. When the Steelers are facing a team that averages 35 or more pass attempts per game, they have gone 9-29 over-under. That is 76.3% to the under. You think passing relates to overs? When the Steelers defense is playing that high pass team, again, 76.3% to the under in that role.
Wow. I guess I'm betting the Steelers this weekend, Ralph. Can you please let everybody know where they can get some more TNA and, of course, any of your premium picks on wagertalk.com?
You know, college football, make sure you check out Wager Talk today or my Twitter. Teams that have 5 college football wins and have need for that 6 to get to a bowl, is it a fade or is it a play on? Check out my Twitter or check out Wager Talk today this morning. Again, $69 for 7 days. Our way of saying thank you for you being a Wager Talk customer, and I do appreciate each and every one of you. Have a very safe and happy Thanksgiving holiday.
WT.buzz/RM is Ralph Michaels' homepage there on wagertalk.com at CalSportsLV. If you're looking for his X to find that college bowl game stat. All right, got to take these guys off because we got to get ready for those best bets. All right, we're going to get right into it. And of course, Marco D'Angelo is up first with his best bet for NFL Week 13.
Yeah, Kelly, before I get to the best bet, I just want to remind everybody, first of all, I want to wish everybody happy Thanksgiving. And don't forget, this is the week. We do it every year. It's our Thanksgiving package where you can pick up any capper at Wager Talk, just $69. It's also available over at our sister site, Sports Memo, as well. You can get 7 days, all access, all sports. Remember, Thanksgiving, you got all the football games, hockey's going on, NBA, college basketball, you name it, it's all included. And yes, it includes those 5% plays. We're 16-4 since February on those 5% plays. So be sure to get on board this weekend. Now, for the best bet, guys, quite honestly, this could have been the sandwich game as well, and I'll explain. But because I've gotten a few demerits the last few weeks with some of the sandwiches that we have served in the deli, I did not want the health department to close the sandwich shop down, because if I gave the Jets as a sandwich and they lost, well, it could be a disaster. But we'll use them as the best bet instead. This is all about going against Seattle. Seattle's coming off, they just played the Rams, the 49ers, and Arizona. What do all 3 of those teams have in common? Well, they're all division opponents, and they are all in that log jam that is known as the NFC West. Just one game separates those teams. And Seattle, after pulling off the victory last week against Arizona, is now in a tie with Arizona, and they own the tiebreaker. And that's pretty important because guess what? Here's where the sandwich comes in. After 3 straight division games, guess who Seattle plays next week? It's a quick rematch with Arizona. I don't know. You 4 out of 5 games against your division opponents, playing 2 out of 3 weeks against the team that you're tied with for first place. That's a pretty big look-ahead spot. Now, for the Jets, yeah, they are an absolute train wreck. I'm not going to try to sugarcoat it. They're 1-7 in their last 8 games. They went into their bye week. They're coming out of the bye week, and I tell you all the time, teams that go into the bye on a bad note, they're going to use that time to try to come out fix what's wrong, and they're going to have what should be their best game of the season. We saw earlier this year that one win in the last 8 came on a Thursday night game. Let's see if they can get it done here on Sunday. And again, as I said, we're betting the spot. And to be honest, Seattle's playing well, but if you look at them, the offense has been struggling. Defense has been playing well, but in the last 4 games, they've scored 10, 20, 20, and 16. Do you really want to lay points on the road with a team coming off the situation they are, Seattle, travel to the East Coast, play the Jets, who do have a good defense? And if Seattle can't run the football, they become one-dimensional, and you don't want to do that against this Jets defense. I think the Jets get the job done on Sunday. I'm taking them. I'm riding the situation, but I'll tell you this much. You guys are my witness. If the Jets lose this game on Sunday in this sweet of a situation spot, they are effing dead to me for the rest of the season. You can have your Jets, Joe. I don't want any part of them the rest of the year, but this is their spot to pull a win.
Marco, you had so many opportunities to use the Jets as your shit sandwich, and you didn't do it. Like, I don't know what kind of marketing we're trying to do for the show, but I feel like that was a layup. Joe Raineri is using the same game, of course, because what an awful game it is, and another under for Mr. Raineri.
Shocker. But yes, Cal, first of all, Marco, the Jets have been dead to me since week 6. I don't know what the hell took you so long to figure out that they are absolute trash. But I do like them in here, and I have maybe a little something you and I can go partners with here on this. Let's talk about the total. Marco likes the Jets +2. I like the under, which opened up at around 43, 43 and a half. So the market is starting to hit the under here, and I absolutely agree with it. If you guys have been paying attention ever since the Seattle had its bye week a few weeks ago, we are finally starting to see the Mike McDonald defense that we thought we were getting with this Seattle team. They're coming off a game in which they just went against Arizona and held them to 2 field goals, and they went 3 for 12 on 3rd downs. The Cardinals have been one of the best rushing teams in the league this year and have been getting better and better and better. And what did the Seahawks do? Yeah, well, they held them to 14 carries for just 49 yards. Former Giant Jet Leonard Williams has been absolutely on fire here, making running the ball extremely difficult. Not to mention, what did he have last week? I believe 2.5 sacks, 4 quarterback hits, 3 tackles for a loss. What the hell do you think? And that was with Kyler Murray, who can outrun anybody on the field. Where do you think Aaron Rodgers is going to be running here? I think the lack of mobility is going to be a problem here for Aaron Rodgers. I also think scoring, like it has been all year long, is going to be a problem, but not just for the Jets, but for the Seahawks too, by the way, who have not been great blocking and protecting Geno Smith. They ranked just 25th in pass blocking this season. And the Jets, yes, they've had their issues, but you still got Quinnen Williams in that defensive front and linebackers coming off a bye week. I fully anticipate that the Jets defense, and the announcement has been made from the top, they fired everyone. Everyone is battling for a job on this Jets team. Make no mistake about it. There are a lot of guys that are going to be playing with some passion for a paycheck. I don't like Geno Smith under duress. He's going to be under duress. Also, I don't like them having to travel east for an early kickoff. You got the Jets D coming off the bye. To me, I've got a Seattle Seahawks team that has not scored more than 20 points since week 7. I think 20 wins this. The first team to 20 wins this game, which gives us plenty of value on the under 41.5. And Marco, listen, we don't tease totals, but I'd be willing to go same game tease here. Give me the Jets at 8 and the under at 47.5. What do you think, Marco?
Can't argue with that. I definitely like the Jets plus the 8 at a low total. That's screaming Wong teaser. Hopefully the Wong teaser won't be wrong.
Can Kelly is so
My mom's
disgusted
dog
with
just
us.
started randomly phantom barking at both of you. Even she knows you're not supposed to see totals. You hear that? She starts phantom barking at absolutely nothing. There's not a single other person or soul in this house. And she's like, no, you guys, that's against the rules.
Hate
You're
the
not
game.
supposed to do that.
Not the player.
I can't with you guys. All right. Teddy, before we get into your best bet, tell me what you have up at wagertalk.com.
Sure, the NFL's been running pretty good. I always have complaints, Kelly. We did lose a 5% big ticket on Monday Night Football, and it happens. All right. That being said, 67% in the NFL the last 2 weeks, 64% for the last 9 weeks. That dates back all the way to September. It's been a rock solid run, and you can take advantage. Take $50 off any 30-day pass. That's all access. NFL, college football, NBA, or football combo. Use promo code Teddy30. Or take advantage of the great Thanksgiving special this week. Again, this week only. 7-day all access, just $69. It is our thank you for all of your support. Again, it's the lowest price we offer for those 7-day all access packages. You get it right now. No promo code needed. For the 3rd day all access, use promo code Teddy30. Let's talk about Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. And really, let's talk about Cincinnati for a minute. All right. We talk about this Bengals team, and the betting markets continue to look at Cincy as a legit contender. Cincy's only beaten 4 teams this year. They've beaten Carolina, the New York Giants, the Cleveland Browns, and the Las Vegas Raiders. Ain't none of those teams any good. All right. Pittsburgh's pretty good. We talk about Cincinnati's home field edge. Oh, yeah, Bengals are back at home this week. They don't have much of a home field edge. They're 1-4 straight up at home this year. They went 3-5 straight up at home last year. This home field, again, we talk about how much NFL home fields are worth. Right now, in my power ratings, this home field's worth a pretty close to 0. You might give me a half point, maybe a point. But betting against Cincy at home has been consistently profitable for several years now. Betting against Cincy when laying points when stepping up in class has been profitable all this season. And we talk about the Steelers coming off a loss. We love Tomlin coming off a loss. You know, road woes? Not for Pittsburgh. They're 4-2 straight up on the highway this year, so a better road record than Cincy has at home. They went 5-3 straight up on the road last year, a better road record than Cincy had at home. Pittsburgh's good underdog, man. 4-0 straight up when catching points this season. And again, Atlanta, Washington, Baltimore, they've proven they can beat some pretty good teams during this in this stretch when catching points. And yet the betting market's just not enamored with Pittsburgh. You know, we've seen a lot of anti-Pittsburgh sentiment in the markets. They couldn't cover as a favorite last week. That was last week. Now they're catching points against a team I think they're better than. Give me the Steelers, and you can get them +3 as we record. You know, it was 2.5 at the open. I'm seeing 3s out there now. At 3, I'm a buyer on Pittsburgh. My clients are as well.
I mentioned to the start of the show, we're going to go over the Friday game. And that's because it's my best bet. Shocker, I'm betting against the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, look, I get it. The Raiders are 1-5 on the road this season. They have lost 7 straight games, but we took the Raiders in this spot a few short weeks ago when I was in Kansas City, and that was because they have been an absolute thorn in the Chiefs' side against the spread and in the last 9 meetings, and including an 11-point underdog win last season. Look, the Chiefs 3-7-1 against the spread is a double-digit favorite. I'm not overthinking this one, and neither should you. This Chiefs team is loaded with injuries, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And I do think that we are going to see a knockdown, drag-out fight, and I hope that the Raiders can win outright for survivor purposes, even though I know that's not going to happen. That's it. That's my cheap handicap on Black Friday. That's what we got to do. Quick deals, in and out. Got to get the best of it. We appreciate you guys. Want to bring on Marco and Joe just so they can tell you guys how thankful we are for all of you as well. We adore you guys. We're thankful for you guys every single week for hanging out with us here on Bet On It. Especially thankful this week. I hope you guys enjoy your weekend with your family. Okay, that was funny, right? Everybody have a great time. Drink lots of wine. Happy Thanksgiving from all of us at Wager Talk. Until next week, let's bet on it.